Welcome back to Faithfully Feminist, a space where we tell the stories of women in the church who waited, wept, witnessed, and most of all, believed. Women who didn't just live the faith, but loved it into being. This week, the church is still glowing with the joy of Easter. On Sunday, all over the world, people were baptized, confirmed, received their first Eucharist. We call it the Easter Vigil, but really, that was just the beginning. At the vigil I attended, I found myself thinking about the confirmation saints the New Catholics had chosen. Some picked warriors, mystics, doctors of the church. Others picked saints they had only just discovered, but who seemed to call them by name. It made me think of my own confirmation saint, St. Augustine. He wasn't the obvious choice at first, especially not for a young lady. But that was until I understood him as someone who searched the world for truth, stumbled through ambition and desire, and eventually found rest in the mercy of God. But the more I think of Augustine, the more I think of the woman who never gave up on him, his mother. Today's episode is about his mother, St. Monica, the weeping mother, the praying woman, the patron of the long wait. She didn't write great treatises. She didn't travel the empire. She just stayed, and she prayed. And because of that, we have Augustine. St. Monica was born in North Africa in the early 4th century. She was a Christian and married to a pagan Roman official named Patricius. He was reportedly hot-tempered, worldly, unfaithful, and most of all, deeply unimpressed by Monica's faith. But Monica didn't leave him. She stayed, she prayed, and toward the end of his life, Patricius converted. They had several children, one of them being Augustine. Brilliant, charismatic, restless, and absolutely not interested in his mother's religion, Augustine fell in with a hedonistic crowd, took a mistress, fathered a son out of wedlock, chased philosophy, rhetoric, political prestige. For over 17 years, Monica watched him drift further from God. She could have given up, but instead, she followed him. Across cities, across years, across heartbreak after heartbreak, praying, fasting, and waiting for her son. We know about Monica mostly from the Confessions, Augustine's account of his own life, and in it, he talks about Monica's tears. He says, "She wept for me more than mothers weep for the bodily death of their children." He doesn't just remember her fondly. He remembers his mother as his intercessor, as the one whose prayers softened the soil of his soul, the one who stood in the breach when he could not, when he would not. There's a moment in Confessions when Monica pleads with a bishop to talk to her son. The bishop, exhausted by her persistence, finally says, "Go, leave me now. It is not possible that the son of so many tears should perish." It's one of the most hopeful lines in all of early Christian writing. Your tears are not wasted. Monica's holiness isn't flashy. It's not mystical or visionary. It's slow, domestic, persistent even. She cooked meals, endured insults, prayed in silence, wept when no one was watching. And in a world that prizes efficiency, speed, and results, her sanctity is countercultural. She reminds us that some transformations take years, that some hearts need time, and that God is working even when it feels like nothing is changing. She shows us that prayer is not passive. It is a labor. It is participation. It is the kind of love that never lets go. There are so many of us who carry people we love, people who have left the church or who never even entered it, people who are wandering, people who are angry, disillusioned, addicted, proud, brilliant, and lost. We want them to come home. We want their hearts to soften. We want their lives to be whole. And we don't know what to do. Monica gives us a way forward. She doesn't force. She doesn't manipulate. She doesn't shame. She simply loves and prays. And most of all, she stays. Though she lived in a time when women had little public voice, Monica's life speaks volumes through its Eucharistic shape. Her body was poured out in care. Her tears were offered like wine. Her love was patient, trusting that grace would do what she could not. In this way, she lived the words of Christ, that as we remember in this Easter season, this is my body, given for you. And in her son's conversion, we see the fruit of that offering. It was not fast, it was not clean, but it was real. After Augustine finally converted at age 31, Monica said something beautiful. There was only one reason why I wished to remain a little longer in this life, and that was to see you become a Catholic Christian before I died. God has granted me this, and even more. What am I doing here? Shortly after, she died in peace. She had waited, and God had come through, and we are still living in the ripples of Monica's story. Maybe you're still waiting. Maybe the child you raised in faith has drifted far. Maybe your spouse has no interest in the church. Maybe, in the most general and pervasive of ways, your prayers just simply feel unanswered. If so, Monica is your saint. She teaches us that love isn't always loud, that intercession is real, and that God is still working, even in the silence, even in the stretches of time. Thank you for joining me today on Faithfully Feminist. This Easter, as the Church welcomes new saints and stories at the altar, may Monica remind you that the journey to Christ is sometimes long, and that love, when offered in faith, is never, ever wasted. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone carrying the weight of prayer. And until next time, may you be faithful in the waiting and trust that God is still writing the story.
Aite me tot